A dire warning about the world's climate. More than 2,000 scientists from some 130 countries have finally issued the most sobering assessment on the future of our planet, that global warming is real and we only have ourselves to blame. The UN Commission group says it is very likely the global climate change of the past 50 years is, quote, not due to known natural causes alone. Among other things, the summary report forecasts global temperatures will rise by between 2 and 4 degrees Celsius by 2100. And it predicts that sea levels will rise by between 18 and 59 centimeters also by the end of this century.
Warming will depend on choices that human beings make to emit more or less greenhouse gases in the coming century.
Well, coal is one of the biggest polluters of all, and it's a double-edged sword for China, where the booming economy has generated huge demand. John Vors reports on the dark cloud hovering over China's black gold.
No country burns more coal than China, and no town produces more of it than Datong, China's coal capital, where the air is thick with pollution, the river black and poisoned. Here, what are arguably the most dangerous mines in the world supply the black gold that drives China's roaring economy. But burning coal produces more of the global warming greenhouse gases than any other fuel. Without coal, though, the Chen family would be both cold and poor. Cheap coal heats their 2 small rooms near one of Datong's biggest mines where Mr. Chen works. He says he can't sleep because of headaches from the pollution. His wife complains the house is always dirty from the filth belched from the giant smokestacks. But they say they can't live without their electric appliances, and they want a bigger, better home, like the one in the poster. I've had that picture on the wall for the last 3 years, he told me. It's my dream. I'd like a house like that. It's clean, beautiful, and safe. For the Chen's dreams to come true, China's factories need cheap, subsidized electricity to keep the economy booming. But Xi Jinping, a miner-turned-environmentalist, is among a growing number demanding the government put the environment first. If they don't change quickly, there'll be no life left around here, he says. They must change no matter what the cost. And as these satellite photos show, the toxic pollutants which so many complain about here eventually drift east over Asia, then on to the United States.
The pollution gets transported from China across the Pacific typically in about a week. And we are in a part of a world where the winds from west to east are pretty consistent and rapid, so we're pretty much downwind of China all the time.
Industry analysts say, on average, every 5 days for the next 5 years, a new coal-burning power plant is due to come online somewhere in China, for a total of 2,500 coal-burning power stations nationwide, producing almost all of this country's electricity.
By 2009, China is expected to overtake the US as the world's biggest emitter of greenhouse gases, and experts warn that any attempt to slow global warming will be futile unless there's a dramatic reduction in China's most unwanted export. John Vors, CNN, Datong, China.
Up ahead on World Business Today, as the climate change debate heats up, find out how business travelers can lighten their carbon load. That's next. Well, that report released today on climate change blames human activity for heating the planet. We've seen how the burning of coal impacts the environment. But what about at a more personal level? CNN's Richard Quest looks at how the individual can avoid racking up carbon emissions.
I am about to leave on my journey to Vancouver. My carbon footprint is going to be monitored literally every step of the way by Graham Simmons back here in London. He's going to be looking at what effect I'm having on the environment by the choices I'm making, the miles that I rack up. And you know, I don't mean air miles. Let's go. Heathrow Airport, please.
So here's Richard taking his journey from central London to Heathrow Airport, taking it by cab, not the most environmentally friendly way of doing it. He could have gone by public transport. He could have shared his cab, which meant he would have halved his carbon footprint.
Halved it? Oh, all right then. Public transport it is. This is the environmentally friendly way to the airport, the Heathrow Express. It's a lot quicker and cheaper. So, I'm arriving at LHR the right way. Time to check in. 90% of my carbon footprint will come from my flight alone, from London round trip to Vancouver, and it's business class all the way. Can I check in, please?
Yep, Richard's right. Flying is big carbon footprint stuff. In 1999, the world's leading climate scientists estimated that 600 million tons of carbon dioxide was pumped into the Earth's atmosphere through flying.
Graham, you will be pleased with this. A few days before my trip, guilt set in. Suitable looking instrument. And I tried my hand at a spot of gardening. Fred Russell from Trees for Cities helped me plant some saplings. It's a very popular and symbolic way to offset my carbon emissions. Right. I'll need to plant 9 trees to make up for my round trip to Vancouver. Right.
So you're ready to backfill?
Oh, yes, sorry, yes.
Just put a little bit of water.
Oh, lordy, lordy. We've only got a couple of minutes.
That's it.
By my reckoning, I've just planted sufficient from London, maybe to the west coast of Ireland. I would say we've reached, I don't know, somewhere over the North Atlantic. Maybe Iceland. No, we're probably oceanic by now. Tree number 3, I would say that puts me somewhere over, northern Canada. So the last tree, the 4th, is going to take us down the western seaboard, over Canada, and into Vancouver.
Absolutely.
Putting it into perspective, roughly speaking, 2 trees will offset 1 seat on a short-haul flight, while a longer flight, say London to New York, requires 6 trees to be planted. The rule of thumb requires the business traveller to plant 4.5 trees for every ton of carbon emissions. Tree planting, though, is only one way to counter carbon emissions. Another way, trade it. I'm one of the first business travellers to try my hand at individual carbon trading. And here's my certificate to prove it. For a mere $10, I'm now officially carbon neutral.
The individual traveller can effectively purchase the carbon they use, or the carbon dioxide that they cause when they travel. So in the European Union, you've got 2.2 billion tonnes of permits to pollute. And if the individual traveller buys some of those permits and takes them out of the system, that is gas that cannot go up a factory chimney.
It's not been easy, but I think I've done as much as I can. My conscience is clear. I arrive in Vancouver.